that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
There's a new food show sheriff in town, Podna. Trey's Chowdown Podcast Live will feature celebrity chefs and pitmasters with celebrity mixologists with creative cocktail menus from distilleries statewide. We'll have farmers, ranchers, wildlife experts, fishermen, and more, all for the culinary world and the foodies. Live from the Spoony Studios on the iHeartRadio platform, Trey's Chowdown Podcast Live.
And here we are again for another Friday of Trey's Chowdown Live on the Spoony Network. And in the studio, we got Patrick over there and Ron somewhere. I think Jen is back there too. And in with us, we have Dean Fearing today from Dallas. Dean, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Trey.
I'm so happy to have you here. Yeah. I'm really happy to have you here.
Yeah, this is great.
We're going to talk a little bit today with Dean about food, music, and everything he likes to do over there in Dallas and all over the country. So let's just get right down to it, Dean.
Yeah.
So, Dean, when did you decide, how old were you when you decided you wanted to be a chef, or how did it come about?
You know, my father was in the hotel business. He was an innkeeper for Holiday Inns in the 60s and 70s, and I have an older brother and a younger sister, but my older brother and I would have to report to the inn after school, even during high school, junior high days, too.
Oh, wow.
And we would work in the kitchen, you know, whether we're making salads or scrubbing pots or washing dishes. So that was my start into the kitchen, and I really never knew anything else.
That's amazing. Back then, Holiday Inn was going strong. Back then,
oh, my goodness. It was the new design of where you stay.
Yeah, they were recently sold. They've made some transition changes now, but I remember back in those days they were popular.
Well, my dad joined up with Kimmons Wilson in 1965 when Kimmons was just taking Holiday Inn out of Memphis, Tennessee, and hit the Midwest. So we lived in every big river town, Rust Belt town, lake town.
Wow.
I'm from a small town in eastern Kentucky called Ashland.
Okay.
And stayed there until 65, and then my dad joined up with Holiday Inn, and we moved to St. Louis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Louisville, Kentucky, you name it.
That's awesome.
Every year we were in a new town.
And that's another thing. But a good thing about that, too, was you got to see different kind of culinary experiences,
Sure did. You know, the most amazing at that time for me was Milwaukee and really tasting the bratwurst and, you know, the fish fries and learning how to ice skate. You know,
there's not much of that here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So you did that. You did the Holiday Inn, and then what propelled you from there?
My dad introduced me to a retired Hilton chef by the name of Harvey Colgin when we were in we were in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was really trying to decide what I was going to do in life. I've always played music, and I was down to the fork in the road. Was I going to go the music route or the food route? And my dad said, listen, before you go the music route, let me introduce you to this gentleman. His name was Harvey Colgin. He was 25 years corporate chef of Hilton Hotels, and he became a chef running the Jefferson Community College culinary program in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I went down, and he was an apprentice under a Scoffier in the Ritz Hotel in London in the 20s.
Oh, wow.
And this was the man. Harvey taught me French cuisine, which in the 70s was the only cuisine.
Right.
And then I worked with him for 2 years under apprenticeship, and he said, you need to go to the Culinary Institute of America. And I headed to Hyde Park, New York, right after I did my time with him, and really honed my skills at the Culinary Institute. and really had a great time learning the more scale of cooking.
So when you finished school there, you attended school there. Did you stay in New York and cook for a while? Or did you?
You know what? It was too saturated with culinary students.
Okay.
I headed to Cincinnati and worked at the oldest mobile 5-star restaurant in the country at that time, called the La Maisonette, and George Hayden was the chef, and he was meaner than a snake, but he was a pot thrower, plate thrower, screamer, yeller. But it was what I learned from him that was the most important.
That was a big thing though back in those times with chefs that had temper.
It was normal.
Yeah, it was normal, and things have evolved now and things have changed. But that was a huge thing back in those days.
Well, that was before human resources.
That's right. That's for HR and social media.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think the Me Too movement was in the 70s.
No, it wasn't. Far from it. So you were in Cincinnati, which I've never been to Cincinnati. It's a beautiful city, but that's
goodness, it is the best city. It's a river town city on the Ohio River, and they have Skyline chili, which is the best Greek chili going on. And it was everywhere I lived, there was pockets of great local food, and that's what I've always sourced out. You talk about great places in Cincinnati, they were there. Just little tiny shops, little lunch places serving mile-high corned beef sandwiches, Kazi's, old man at the cash register that yell at you. Great classic places.
Kind of like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no soup for you.
Yeah. Well, this was a classic place. All of us chefs are cooks at that time. At the Maisonette, we'd all meet there at least a couple of times a week and have lunch. And Kazi ran the register, and everything was on the honor system. So then when you go up, he'd say, what'd you have? And I'd say, I had a corned beef sandwich and chips and a soda. You had some potato salad too. You're trying to cheat me. And then he'd start screaming, and everybody would just look over. It was classic. Classic.
But that's atmosphere. That
was the best. That's why we went.
That's right. That's funny. Atmosphere plays a big part in it. So you were in Cincinnati, and then what'd you do when you left Cincinnati?
Well, George Hayden got me here.
Oh, did he really?
And
okay.
He was friends with Dieter Paul, who was the food and beverage director at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas.
Right.
And Dieter Paul needed a poissonnier, a fish cook at the Pyramid Room.
Okay.
And he called up George and said, I need somebody down here quick. And George, I've been 2 years at the Maisonette.
Sure.
Saucier, the whole bit,
yeah.
loving life, learning more like a sponge, just learning everything about cooking. And he says, I got a job for you in Dallas, Texas. I said, wow, I've never been to Texas. And he said, it's at the 5-star Mobile Guide hotel restaurant called the Fairmont.
Sure.
I was like, wow, great. So I packed up everything that I ever had at that time in my 78 Celica. Brand new.
Which would probably still be running if you had it. Those cars ran forever.
Unbelievable. Brown, fastback, the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And drove to Dallas. And when I got to the outskirts of Dallas, I'll never forget it. I was pulling into a brand new city.
Sure.
Now, you got to remember, I lived in every old city in the Midwest.
Right.
And I was coming to a brand new city. And I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the Fairmont, the chef there. Oh my goodness, we had a great time. And he taught me a lot. And we were, poissonnier at the Fairmont, the fish cook, and I loved it, working with all these great French chefs.
Learning, sucking up all the information.
Just still a sponge, just learning, because my whole ambition was to be a chef.
Sure.
And nothing was going to stop me.
I talk about this all the time. It's passion. There's a difference between a cook and a chef. A chef has passion. A cook's there for a paycheck. That's kind of the way I describe it.
Sure is. And a lot of enthusiasm.
A lot of enthusiasm, yeah. And you never stop learning. In today's times, it moves so fast, you have to continually evolve with everything you do.
Absolutely.
All day long.
Well, in that time, French cuisine, like I mentioned before, was king.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know everything about French cuisine and was learning it through all these great chefs. And then finally, the chef said, he brought in a newspaper article, and he said, you know, I know you want to be the saucier, the sauce chef.
Sure.
And he said, there's a lady by the name of Caroline Rose Hunt that is going to open up a restaurant called The Mansion, and it's going to be an old house converted over to a restaurant. And I think you should go over there and get the saucier job. And this was 1980.
Yeah.
And I went over and got the job.
Right.
And my resume at that time was, you know, for Dallas, Texas, was probably pretty good.
It was. Yeah.
Culinary Institute, the Masonette, and Fairmont Hotel.
Right.
So I was going up the ladder.
You were.
And it was just a great start again for my career.
Yeah.
And worked under Chef Chemin, a little tiny French chef. And
was he from France or just?
He was.
What kind of guy was he?
Just the nicest. Took me under his wing. In fact, it was the greatest experience ever because he left nighttime to me. He worked during the day. He wanted to be home with his family and handed over the keys at 5 o'clock. And here I was, 24 years old, running the nighttime dinner scene.
Well, you can learn a lot when that starts happening, can't you?
Oh my goodness, I had to learn all the responsibilities.
Yeah, and failures, creates a success. So it's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I had, all my buddies was my crew, and we were the best team ever.
So how many chefs and sous chefs did you have working at that time
there was probably 35 of us working in the kitchen on a 7-day basis.
Wow.
And then, half of that was working nighttime.
At nighttime, I know in today's times, lots of times night is better than it was. The nighttime better business wise.
Oh my goodness. That's where we made our money.
Okay.
And I was responsible for all of that. And, the Mansion was coming on strong at that time. I mean, it was the place.
Yeah, it was.
It was run by 21 Club out of New York for the first year. Yeah. And then Bob Zimmer, the president of Rosewood at that time, said, we're going to change that. And Wolfgang Puck became the consulting chef.
Awesome.
So it was a wonderful time.
How often into there did you start creating menu items?
Every
that
day.
Time? Oh, awesome.
Every day. And that was part of my responsibility. So Chef Christian Chemin just gave me everything.
So what was your favorite dish you ever created at the Mansion? For you personally, what was your favorite dish?
We did this, oh my goodness, I tell you, I'll never forget it. We did this veal chop, and at that time, veal chop was really big, but we did it over this creamy pasta, like a Parmesan pasta, and then hit the top of the veal chop with a tomato sauce. Trey, I'm telling you, I can taste that thing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we all used to eat that thing. All of us cooks at least like 3 times a week.
Yeah, veal's not as popular as it used to be, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, you don't see it a lot.
What do you think, Dean? What creates the evolution of new dishes and new fads? In your opinion, is it just one chef or is it a bunch of stuff? What happens?
You know what? I think it is. I mean, veal at that time was probably a sought out, very gourmet item. And it was expensive. And I think being expensive probably in that day meant it tasted good.
Sure. Yeah.
In the philosophy of it.
Yeah, right.
But I remember, Trey, in the early 80s, where lamb, like a rack of lamb, only men ate rack of lamb.
Right.
Women would never eat rack of lamb because it was too strong.
Yeah.
And that's all changed now. I mean, women at Fearing's restaurant now eat everything across the board. I mean, it's fantastic. I love it that everybody is interested in Nilgai antelope and all different kinds of buffalo and quail and wild game is now across the board. It doesn't make any difference who you are.
Right.
Everybody loves it.
And, they just did a survey recently, a national magazine did, and they said that people nowadays are looking for food experiences. They want to try everything. Nothing's off the table, so everything. They'll eat everything.
I see it every night.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. Talk about children.
Whole different culture now, food-wise.
Whole different culture. I mean, when I see
good.
children eating raw oysters, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Or foie gras, or, and they love it.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
I mean, my boys were introduced to a lot of items, but it wasn't until they were grown.
Sure.
That they really tasted a lot of the more exotic items. Now, kids that are 5, 6, 7 earlier years are all now experiencing food that I never experienced till I was in my 20s.
Right. And I think that's and that's one of the reasons I started doing what I was doing, and I tell people this all the time, people get in ruts. A lot of times they get in ruts and they don't want to try new things, but if they will try something new, they almost always will like it. It's just some it's just they're scared to do it sometimes. I don't know why, but they are.
Well, and I think our whole culture now is geared toward that. TV, magazines,
social media.
Social media. I mean, people enjoyment now is eating.
Right. And the experience of that's right.
And the true experience of trying something new.
Yeah.
And it's marvelous. I mean, I would never have thought in my early 70s, 80s, when I became a chef, a full-fledged chef, I would have never thought, Trey, that people would be so adventurous as they are now.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean,
it's amazing.
They can all the dishes you see, and I do think that social media has played a huge part in that, because a chef can take a snapshot and put it on social media versus trying to get it on TV, and it just
absolutely
all the time, dishes everywhere all the time.
Absolutely, and people see it and want it.
Yeah, it's a visual thing.
It is very big, and visual food has always been my philosophy.
Yeah,
even back in the early 80s, I always thought that a beautiful plate placed in front of somebody, you eat with your eyes.
That's right, you do. That's exactly right, you do. Everybody does. I don't care if it's a $2 hamburger or whatever it is. You eat with your eyes first.
Oh my goodness.
Then the aroma.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So you went to the mansion, and then you became the executive chef of the mansion.
No, I opened the first American restaurant in Dallas, Texas. And I know it's hard for anybody to ever imagine that Dallas, Texas at one time was ruled by the French.
Yeah, it was.
And was all French restaurants, Italian, continental. And American restaurants were barbecue joints, hamburger joints, cafeterias. There wasn't a white tablecloth American restaurant run by an American. I mean, every chef in Dallas, Texas in the early 80s were all French. Maybe there was a speckle of people that came up through the French ranks and were running a restaurant. But I would tell you, 90% of Dallas was all French restaurants.
Oh. And so you opened up your restaurant when you left there?
Yes, it was called Agnew's. It was up in Addison, and my partners wanted a fine dining restaurant, 5-star joint that was close to the bedroom community, because the new bedroom community in Dallas was Willow Bend.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to drive all the way downtown to the mansion or to all of the French restaurants, Warsaw down there at that time. And this was before Stephen opened Roost Street Cafe. So we're talking a couple of years before that. And my whole crew was American. Most of the front of the house, I'd say a large percentage of the front of the house was American. And we decided we were going to be this little rebel group and open up a place, 5-star, white tablecloth, and totally American.
Yeah. And how'd your menu start? What was your menu?
It was all American products, and that was an important part. Everything that was groomed out of America, from coast to coast or anywhere. But we started, and now local is the word. But in the early days, we called it cottage farming, and we had a lady in Denton, Texas, growing shiitake mushrooms for us. I had a man that was raising quails and chuckers and pheasants for us. And, I had farmers just growing vegetables and herbs for us at that time. And, this was early 80s.
Yeah.
And, we got that whole local thing started how many years ago?
And you said it was called cottage?
Cottage farming. That's what we called it.
That's kind of a cool name, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it was just one person producing one item.
That's neat, though. I like the name cottage. It gives it a more cozy,
sure does,
more personal feel.
Sure does.
Yeah.
And for me, it told the story.
Sure.
Cottage farming is a smaller farm.
Yeah, that's a great branding idea. I don't know how I'd ever go with that, but I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that now.
Oh my goodness, I live by it.
Yeah, yeah. The quality of the product, it's what helps make the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, most of my menu now is everything local. So, and I'm not alone in this. Everybody's doing it.
That's my big thing that I seek out restaurants, to go to that are all locally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of the fish and everything all comes overnight or same day. It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. And I have a man, Greg, in Lawton, Oklahoma, that has been raising our buffalo for 12 years, and it's the best cut of meat you'll ever have.
Yeah.
And then Mike Hughes down in Ingram, Texas at Broken Arrow is doing our Nilgai antelope for us. I have a single farmer raising quails in Lockhart, Texas. So, and all of our vendors, Profound Farms, Jeff at Profound, just doing all of our lettuce for us. I mean, it's a marvelous time, but what people don't know, it was a marvelous time in the 80s.
Sure was. Yeah.
And 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, I've always been doing local.
Yeah. It's just now, I guess it became a thing. It became a thing. And
it became what Italian cuisine was years ago.
Sure.
Everybody discovered it. And, what Asian cuisine was and sushi was.
Right.
And, so now local is the new discovery.
Yeah. I think that's because like Europe, they've never changed that. All those little places in Europe are always been fresh and local. And I think that they've just tried to translate that here a lot more.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes a better quality product.
Oh, sure does. Yeah. And, France has been doing it for
probably since no date. Well, okay, so then you went when did you open after you left there?
Well, then we got crushed in the real estate market of '84 and had to close up.
Oh yeah, and that was a bad one.
That was a bad one.
Yeah.
And that's when I came back to the mansion as chef in 1985. And Bob Zimmer was president, still president at the time, of Rosewood Hotels.
Right.
And I told him he really wanted me to come back. And I said, Bob, the only way I'm going to come back to the mansion is that we market the restaurant as a Southwest cuisine restaurant, because there was only a few of us. It was Stephen Piles and Robert Del Grande and myself. We were really stretching the whole envelope of where Southwest cuisine was going to go, because we felt that it was true modern Texas cuisine and our voices needed to be heard. And Bob Zimmer said he had to think about it for a while, and he called me up and he said, we'll do it.
Well, it was a good decision.
It was a great decision.
It was.
Great decision.
We're gonna go to a little short break here for a little bit, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about Dean's Restaurant and music, which I'm gonna talk about. It's gonna be awesome. So we'll see y'all. Listen to some advertisements. We're capitalists here. We got to try to pay some bills. So listen to some advertising for a second. Thank you. See you back in a minute.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called RiduZone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to RiduZone.com and try today. You're going to love it. RiduZone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's DIA Thrive.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Hey guys, we're back on Spoony for another 25 minutes or so with Dean Faring. So Dean, let's finish our conversation.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the culinary stuff, and then we're going to get into Faring's your place now.
Yeah.
So I guess just talk about how did that one come about and how that evolved.
Well, John Goff, who's a resident of Fort Worth here, and my partner in the restaurant,
Sure.
came and got me at the mansion. And, the mansion, great ride for me.
Right.
25 years. But
Long
John,
time.
long time. And really took Dallas cuisine to the forefront.
Sure.
I think the mansion, if it did one thing for Dallas, gave Dallas an awareness across the country, across the world, that if you go to Dallas, you got to stay at the mansion.
Sure.
And you got to eat the restaurant.
Right.
And that's what happened forever, which was great.
Yeah.
And it was fun and exciting. But John came over and said, how'd you like to run your own restaurant? I said, sure.
Yeah, I need some money.
Well, and just the fact that was my next step.
Sure.
Sure. It was to have my own place, also to be able to run it the way I wanted to run it.
Right.
And that's what we did. So John and I, great partner, great partnership. 12 years. Can you
Right.
believe that?
Yeah, it's a long time.
This August will be 12 years. And still doing unbelievable amount of business.
Yeah, you are. And obviously, the partnership works too.
It does.
Because in today's time, that's a sticky wicket, boys.
It is. I'm
You
telling you, I have friends of mine, chef friends, that hate their partners.
You don't know what's going to happen to you till you get, so to speak, in bed with somebody like that. It can be a real funny deal, boy. It's tough.
Well, I tell you, John Goff has been a blessing for me, and a great guy, great friend, and we're same age, so I think we bond in that sense also.
That's great.
But anyway, he said, listen, I want to write the check. You build the place. The only thing I don't want to do, and I always laugh at this, he said, I don't want to be in a meeting and go, and you're going, John, do you like this plate or do you like this plate?
That's funny. That's funny.
It is funny.
But you didn't forget it, so that's funny.
That's it. So it was a great opportunity to work with Bill Johnson, interior designer out of Atlanta, Georgia. And he's an old hippie, I'm an old hippie,
Sure.
and we connected. And I loved his vision for the restaurant. I mean, my guidelines were, I want a timeless restaurant. I want a restaurant that has different rooms. And at first he was like, Dean, are you sure you want a restaurant with different rooms? And I said, you know, I just don't want people walking in, Bill, and seeing a giant restaurant empty on the 27th of July on a Sunday night.
Right.
And because then there's a whole psychological part.
You're right, there
that
is.
people say, I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, you're right. Perception.
Yeah. 100%.
And you do have different rooms there.
Break it off.
And you break it off.
So then on that Sunday night on July 27th, we can shut some rooms down and keep a room open that is full, and you can still keep the energy.
I remember reading a deal one time that someone asked if you were going to have different menus for different rooms, and you said, absolutely not. I'm not going to do that.
No.
Did I read that sometime somewhere?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
What had that conversation come about?
Well, you know, I mean, it's same menu across the board. Yeah. It's just different atmospheres.
Right.
And I think that's important because I have an antebellum white tablecloth room.
Right.
You know, people want to sit down, little quieter, want that more upscale dining.
Right.
Want to close a deal, you know, want that connection with that white tablecloth room. And then I have the kitchen room, which is high energy.
Yeah.
And Trey, when I mean high energy, there's people that only want to be in that room.
Yeah.
They would never be in the gallery where the white tablecloths are. And then I had an opportunity to build one more big dining room, and that is the Sendero, which was a glass pavilion that you see the outdoor bar, you see our park with all the beautiful flowers and foliage, and then I had another opportunity to build an outdoor patio.
Yeah.
So we call the Ocaso, that, you know, you can sit out in our park area and enjoy dining outside.
Isn't that fabulous? All those different experiences in that.
And then
amazing?
we still have a wine cellar.
Yeah.
That is really, I think, the most powerful room in Dallas, the most sought out. Holds 16 people, big long table, in a cave effect, stone ceiling,
like in a cellar. That's neat.
Like a cellar.
I haven't seen that one.
And it's in the wine cellar.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Really cool. Really cool.
That one ought to be popular.
And then we have 3 bars. We have a lobby bar, we have our lounge and main bar, and then we have the Live Oak, which is an outdoor bar. So big restaurant.
Big restaurant.
Big restaurant.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And how many times do you see people that come back to sit in the different sections all the time?
Love it.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on the atmosphere. If it's, you know, anniversary, they may want to sit in the gallery. You know, they're with some friends getting ready to go to a Mav game or a concert. You know, they're dropping in and sitting in the kitchen room where it's fun and loud and crazy, and you know, you can smell the food, you can smell the grill, and then you know, people want that experience of being outside. So you know, you can choose from the Sendero and look outside or be outside.
Yeah, or you can come in dressed however you want to. So
you know, when I left the mansion, I said Fearing's is going to have no rules.
Yeah,
no rules. You come as you are. You dress as you are, you know, it doesn't make any difference.
It's amazing because I was talking to a chef about, I don't know, 2 years ago when I was doing a video segment at his restaurant, and I said, what's the thing that, because he went to Hawaii, traveled all over the world, and then came back and settled here because his dad played for Texas Rangers. And I said, what's the most dramatic thing that you remember when you opened up your restaurant you wanted to keep in mind in your head? He said, my mind, he said, in Dallas and Fort Worth, he said, the biggest thing that you don't know is the guy wearing the T-shirt is the billionaire, and the guy wearing the suit half the time is a different situation. So he said he had to remember that, and that's how he made his restaurant, comfortable.
Same principle.
Yeah.
Really is.
And it's the truth, though, isn't it?
It is the truth. The person with the ripped jeans and the faded T-shirt and the flip-flops is buying the $1,000 bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's right.
No joke.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it works. So, but I thought that was funny because that's the first time that I'd heard that, but that's how much we've evolved to as a society.
Absolutely.
Because it used to be in the,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the button-up days of the mansion.
My granddad used to go hunting with a tie and a top hat on. So, yeah.
Well, and the other great philosophy that we have for our restaurant is that our wait staff is professional, but not snooty. It's not snobby, that they are open.
Yeah.
I wanted to build a culture in the restaurant that everybody feels comfortable, but yet you have this professional service, but you have a waiter that can talk to you.
Sure.
And we never say no. If I have it in the house, whether it's a veal chop, whatever, if I have it, it's yours.
People don't like to hear the word no. They just
my goodness,
I don't care who they are. They just don't.
And chefs that are still saying, we can't do any substitution on our menu.
Oh, God.
Is living in the dark ages.
It's funny because nowadays, like I talked to Chef Patrick from Albuquerque, he was here, and we talked, and he said, we're talking about alienating people, and you alienate somebody with social media, they might go tell 100 people in no time. Then you start a snowball effect. It gets worse and worse by every time somebody says something about it. So,
well, it's how do you create the wow in your restaurant?
Right.
Being able to do something for somebody off the menu is the wow.
That's right.
It truly is the wow. And I love the fact that people come in and say, hey, I'm not a great lover of jalapeno grits. Can I change this for that? Sure.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have a full vegetarian menu.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm. Because I think it is so important that we create a bond across
for everybody
coming in.
Every palate. Yeah.
Yes. And that, somebody that may be with, in a business dinner, let's say, there's people that want a steak or people that want fish. Well, there's the business traveler can't be on the road 4 or 5 nights out of the week eating a big old steak.
No, it can't.
A lot of people want to eat more simple or healthy.
Yeah.
And so I can't tell you how important our vegetarian menu is.
And that's evolved a lot in the last 10 years too.
Oh,
that's
my
really
goodness.
come on strong.
Absolutely.
Now, do you take some of your regular dishes and just make those
Absolutely.
big? Okay.
We take, every time we change our menu, which is probably every 3 or 4 weeks.
I was fixing to ask you that. Really?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. We always evolve it forward. Is we take our main items and turn them into a vegetarian dish.
That's fantastic.
And I tell you, we've been doing it for 10 years.
And that way, if somebody wants to eat something off, that they can get that and still eat it, which is great.
Well, and isn't it great for a person who wants to eat vegetarian to come into a great atmosphere with a great wine list?
Yeah.
Because Paul Bartimer, who is our wine director, we have a great wine list.
That's awesome.
That everything from low to high all tastes good. We don't have a dud on that menu.
That's good.
On that list. We don't have a dud where somebody can buy a $45 bottle of wine and it's absolutely delicious.
You do a lot of pairings there as well?
We sure do.
So what gives you
tasting menus?
Yeah, what gives you the inspiration for your creations, your dishes, mostly?
You know what? It's like falling dominoes, Trey. One idea leads to another idea, leads to another. I've always worked that way. And we can create a menu in my chef office. Get the ideas down, and I have a lot of philosophies with how we do menus at Fearing's, and the number one is all the dishes have to stay true with each other. If we're going to do an Asian dish, it's all Asian. If we're going to do a West Texas dish, it's all West Texas.
Yeah, you don't
I
mix.
don't blend the cultures.
Good.
Because I think it's too confusing, and it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. You know, if we're going to do a Cajun dish, let's blow it out.
Yeah.
Do a Cajun dish.
And, and there's nothing you won't do. I mean, your dishes, you run across the gambit on your dishes.
I do.
So
Worldly.
Yeah.
You know, we love curry. We'll have curry on our menu, Indian curry style. And I love Indian curry. But, you know, we'll go French, we'll go Mediterranean, we'll even go Middle East. You know, I love it all.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be a real food person, a connoisseur, you have to like offer all kinds of food.
Oh, my goodness.
Flavor
Absolutely.
profiles, yeah.
Well, and our customers and our guests love it because when they come in, we change the menu so much that they never know what's going to be on the menu. Now we have our
staple items.
Yeah,
okay.
our signature items that if I ever change, I'd have to move to Fort Worth. Open up a whole new restaurant. Because they would have the pitchforks out.
What they would. So what is your favorite, or what is your favorite dish, and then what is the most popular dish on the menu?
You know, Mike Hughes was just in town a couple of weeks ago from Broken Arrow Ranch, and, you know, I just had to tell him how much, I mean, we've known each other for 40 years, but how much Nilgai antelope has become so popular in our restaurant. I mean, I tell you, when Mike runs short on it, because they actually go out and hunt Nilgai for us, that people get upset because they are so in love with Nilgai, because it's the only wild game in South Texas that doesn't taste like wild game.
Yeah.
It's so mild, tender, and delicious off our mesquite grill.
That's another. I was just thinking, actually, how was it prepared?
Oh, I'm telling you, that mesquite grill is the wonderment of it all. I mean, I couldn't live without a mesquite grill on our food because it gives you that smoky, that grill taste we all love, but that smokiness from that mesquite when it's burning is...
It's kind of like the outdoor freshness.
It is.
People like it a lot.
It is, exactly. So, I just had to tell him, thank you, for supplying us and Texas and the world with unbelievable wild game that people would normally not eat. Because I get a lot of trans people. I get people from all over.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
New York, Chicago, you name it, London, Paris. And when they eat something from Texas, like a Texas quail or Oklahoma buffalo or Nilgai antelope from South Texas, that's an experience.
Sure it is.
They'll never have.
And they'll never forget.
And never forget.
And you don't want them to forget it.
No. I want them back.
You want to tell everybody. So that place is called Broken Arrow. You said it was
Ranch.
We talked about that Broken Arrow Ranch. Okay.
Yeah.
Where is he out of?
He's out of Ingram, Texas.
Ingram, Texas. Okay. Yeah. I remember we talked about it before the show started. Yeah.
And I've been buying from him since the middle 80s.
Relationships.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I truly believe that good relationships.
Oh my goodness.
That's what you have to have. I say everything's about relationships.
And it's with all our farmers and ranchers. I mean, we're doing A-Bar-N ranch meats. We're doing the tenderloin, the sirloin, and the ribeye out of Sherman, Texas. And that's Texas Black Angus bred with true Japanese Wagyu, producing what I think is Texas' best steak, period. And I tell you, A-Bar-N produces the greatest quality steak meat, period.
And I was just fixing to talk to you about that, how much the meat, we're in the ranch business, how much the meat business has changed in the last 10 years. I'm going to tell you, it's crazy.
Well, along with our regular menu and our vegetarian menu, we have a steak menu now that is like a little steak menu. It has great salads, wedges, Caesar. It has great sides, mushrooms, garlic spinach, creamy garlic spinach, duck fat potatoes.
Oh, I love duck fat potatoes. Oh my God. The flavor, yes. Yeah.
Addictive.
Yeah.
Totally addictive. But then with A-Bar-N steaks, we sell them all night.
Yeah.
So now people come into Fearing's, they have an opportunity to try a creative menu or just have a great steak.
When did you see it at in your experience? When did you see the beef market take a huge surge and start climbing?
Oh, I've seen it my whole career.
Your whole career in Texas, yeah.
But I decided that it's time for Fearing's to have its own steak menu.
Yeah. That's great, though, especially where you are in Dallas.
Because people come in to Texas, and I've known this from the old mansion days, they want a Texas steak.
Right. They do.
And, there was a period, a long period, like 20 years, that even when I was at the mansion, people would come in, and there wasn't a Texas steak to be had.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I mean, nobody was doing a Texas steak. And it is so refreshing now that we got Rosewood Ranch and, all of these great, great steak producers.
It's the beef bark's just gone crazy.
Oh yeah,
and I love it. I mean,
I do too.
Everybody offers steak.
Oh,
Chef Blaine over at Grace said, I said, I texted him one day. I said, hey man, you got some steak on the menu tonight? And he said, boy, if I didn't, I'd be hung up at the cross right here. So yeah, I mean, everybody's got one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're also, people may not know this, but you're also a big musician, and you have a huge guitar collection.
I sure do.
How many guitars do you have now?
Well, I've gotten rid of a bunch of regular guitars, so to speak, to go into more vintage guitars.
More expensive.
Yes. I'm an early Telecaster, Fender Telecaster collector.
Those are expensive.
They are. And but I wheel and deal, and it's my little passion besides cooking and and loving my fiance, Wanda. So this would be down the road here. But the guitar scene, and Wanda always says, why do you need one more guitar?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I love them. Just give me something to collect, boots, watches, guitars.
Yeah, I have about 18 guitars hanging on the walls, but they're all stuff that artists have signed. Or I've got
exactly.
But I just love the way they look. I love the color.
I love
the shapes.
Love it.
And there's something people talk about. They come in and they're always amazed.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, and so I'm an old Martin collector too. Martin guitars from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Real beautiful high-end guitars.
What's your favorite guitar?
It's a 1942 shaded top that is unbelievable. And
where'd you find it?
I have buddies over the years that all are now big foodies.
Right.
And, we have 2 guitar shows a year.
Okay.
So I've gotten over the years to know the best vintage dealers ever, and they love the restaurant. So, we're always haggling, and I just love old Martin guitars and old Telecasters.
Guess what? Relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Once again.
again.
They think I have a gift, and I think
they got a gift. That sounds good.
They can find the most unbelievable guitars, period.
And you just see one, you're just amazed. Yeah, all of them.
Oh yeah.
What you play a lot? What's the name? What's the name of your band?
Yeah, it's the Red Souls.
Yeah,
and this is a new band that I've put together with Dave Henson, a good friend of mine who has Killer Vintage, which is who I get all my vintage electric guitars from. And Killer Vintage is a great vintage guitar and amp store in Dallas. And he has his original store is in St. Louis, which he still has. And then Dave Henson wanted to move to Dallas and open up another store. And it is.
That business has taken off too, though, hadn't it? It's changed a lot too, the guitar business, yeah.
Yeah, that sure has.
Because when I was a kid, it wasn't really, but now it's like, my gosh.
Well, and this is only guitars and amps. It used to be when we were growing up, Trey, it was trombones and drums and everything. I mean, it was a music store.
Yeah.
Now they're guitar stores.
Isn't that
amazing?
So your band, you have a website for your band?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're working on that. But then, and all of these gentlemen are retired musicians from great bands in the past. And I can't play a lot, on the weekends because I work the weekends.
Oh, so that's your money. That's money.
That's money.
Yeah.
That's the money time.
Yeah.
And course, these guys don't want to play every weekend anymore.
Sure.
They did that their whole lives.
Right.
So it's fun because we get together and these guys are into it.
Yeah, you sound
man.
excited about it all when we're talking. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll tell you, it's like driving a Cadillac.
Well, you got two things. You got that passion for the music business and passion for food.
Yeah.
Now, I did also read an article somewhere where you felt that the music business playing guitars crossed over into the restaurant business at one time. Did I read that somewhere?
Well, I think it all evolves out of the same thing. You take a sheet of paper and write music,
Right.
and you take a plate and you build a dish.
Sure.
And for me, it correlates perfectly.
Both
it
creative.
really does.
It's a creative
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and I've always been that creative person. Ever since I was little, I always loved it. Meaning, when I was going to college at one point, I thought I was going to be a art major because I love drawing and art in general and all of that. So
That's amazing. And you've written some books too. You've done three
books.
Three books. Yeah,
the,
right.
The newest book is the Texas Food Bible.
That's right. That's what I saw. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I saw it.
Oh, I tell you, everything you want to know about Texas cooking. And then we just launched our 7 bottle products called Dean Fearing's Bottle Products.
What's all in there?
Well, we got tortilla soup, which has been a big
Awesome.
hit in a jar.
A jar.
Heat it up, add chicken, avocado, cheese, and chips, and you got the best tortilla soup in town.
Yeah.
And then we got some steak sauces. We got D1. You know what D1 is?
No.
Better than A1.
Better than A1. That's a good.
And then we got the Texas Mop, West Texas Mop, which is, I think, Texas. It's an 1800 recipe when they used to mop half steers over a pit.
Uh-huh.
And it was a concoction, and it makes sense of what you would probably have at home: molasses, beer, and vinegar. And I think it's Texas' first barbecue sauce. So we have that in a bottle. We have creamy basil vinaigrette, and we have a barbecue Thousand Island, which really kicks forward. It takes Thousand Island to that next step.
I bet it does.
And then the creamy basil dressing is 50 pounds of fresh basil in each batch that we make.
50 pounds of fresh basil.
50 pounds of fresh basil.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
But can you imagine how that basil tastes?
Yeah, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And then I have 2 hot sauces. I got a roasted green chili and then a poblano pepita.
Love
hot
poblanos.
sauce.
Yeah. Can they buy this on your website? You have to go to Ferris?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're in every. Right now, they're in every Central Market. They're right over here in town.
Okay, perfect. So you get Central Market.
Yeah,
Central Market guys, you heard him.
Yeah, everything's available there. All 7 products, and then on our website. And then we're talking to some new people now, and it's going to be expanding. So
awesome! That's going to be great. So I didn't know you were in Central Market. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, it's going great. Yeah, Stephen Butt and I are old buddies, and he said, I want you to start with me, and I did.
Okay. Twist my arm.
Yeah, and it's been a big hit.
So when you're not at the restaurant or you're on the road or you're playing or whatever you're doing, what's your favorite thing to eat? What's your nasty pleasure?
You know what? I think I mentioned it before. Indian curry.
Is that it really?
My fiance Wanda and I met over a curry dinner that I was doing at my house. And she's a big curry lover, and I am too. We love to go to London just to eat curry, so to speak. I've been to India and it really experienced the whole curry cuisine over there. And it's our little getaway, go out and go to a great curry place. And I like it, Trey, because it's the last frontier of flavors. It really is. It's a concoction of items, mainly spices,
right?
And that just blow my mind.
But it sure pops in your mouth, though.
Sure does.
It sure does.
Sure does. And I love that because it's much like Southwest cuisine or modern Texas cuisine, where it's those big, bold flavors.
Yes, it is.
And I love bold flavors.
That's just been awesome. So, Dean, is it just the website for Fearing's? Does that have everything on it?
It does.
So
it does.
And what is the website address for Fearing's?
It is Fearing's, Fearings, restaurant at .com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people put in Fearing and not Fearing since because I made that mistake before a couple of years ago. So
well, my last name is Fearing,
right,
but then the restaurant's name is apostrophe S.
Fearing as well.
So on the website, just add your S to the Fearing and .com, fearingsrestaurant.com, and we got Lucchese boots. You can get right into some Lucchese
got everything.
boots. Yeah. Well, it's what I wear all the time.
Do you sleep?
A little. I like to sleep more.
Yeah. Well, Dean, I really appreciate you being here today. It was really awesome.
Thank you, Trey.
And it was
been a
so
fun
much,
time.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. So if y'all are trying to find us, you can go to Trey'sChowdown.com or you can go to Spoony.com. Get all the information. You know, we're here live every Friday from 10 to 11 with chefs, farmers, ranchers talking about the culinary world and the culinary market. Patrick, thank you very much, brother. Juan, I don't know where Ron is, and Dean, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Trey.
Really appreciate it. Y'all
here.
can find him again at fearings.com. Thank you.
All right, brother.